All right, welcome back. So, if you today want to have a look at some type and text in Photoshop, and if you haven't already understood or seen the video on vector versus raster graphics, that's a great idea to start and have a look at that concept first, because today I want to look at adding some type to an image or playing with type here. So, the reason you want to have a background in that is that we've got a type tool here, the big T over there. And if you want to type some text here, this is some text, then you can see that as I'm adding this layer, we get a slightly different layer over here. It's got a big T on it, and the reason why it's got that is because it's basically a special kind of vector layer, or it's a type layer to be honest, but it behaves a lot like a vector layer if you've done some work with that before. So if you have a look here and I grab the eraser tool, you'll see it will not allow me to erase it. Couldn't do that because sorry, make sure we select that even and then do the eraser there. You're going to see that this type layer must be rasterized before proceeding. The text will no longer be editable. You want to rasterize this type. So that's basically the same message you get with the vector layer, because essentially the computer has a formula, a math understanding of how these lines, this text is laid out, and also allows us to later on go in and make some changes, right? Um, we can type something else here. We can erase text, and text is going to move around. So it's not just a collection of dots and pixels. In this case, we've got the ability to highlight it. You can see we could get a little context menu up here that pops up, or we can change a font to any one of the millions of fonts that you could use in Photoshop here that's installed on your computer. Let me pick a little elephant, something a little bit fatter there. You can change the bold, you can change the size here of all that, even Christmas and left center align. We can even tweak the color of your text there like so. And much like vector graphics, we can pick them up, we can move them around. I can rotate the text and even expand it in different directions. If I hold down Control, you can see, well, I can just stretch it out like that. And the nice part about this is because it is a formula, because the computer understands what it is, it's not just a collection of pixels, I can even go and edit it afterwards. And it will do that completely naturally. But what I can't do is, apply a lot of filters to it, or I can't paint on that, or I can't erase that part of the eye, because this is a mathematical understanding of this text. Now you can rasterize it if you want, but once you've done that, and now I can of course go in and erase little bits. But once I've done that, I've lost the ability now to edit this or change this text in any way, shape, or form. See, if I click one, it in fact tries to create a new layer for me, which I don't want to do. I'm going to go backwards actually and get my text back here. So just be aware, type layers, they'll have a big T there like that, function very much like a vector layer, and so we are limited as to what we can do to change it. On the other hand, there's some advantages to these layers as well. For instance, if I grab my type tool here, there's a couple other options that appear over top here. I also have this feature called the text warp tool. This allows me to bend and shape this and still look nice and smooth. You've got a whole bunch of different options here. So I could, type in arced text, or, a little flag wave kind of deal, and you get a bit of options onto how much this is going to get bent and twisted. This is great for logos, for typing around, um, for making posters or typing around different graphics and things like that. You can see how we can really bend this and shape it, and the fact that it is, again, a math formula. So we can add more text into it. It will grow and change and alter as we see fit. like so. And when you're happy, you can click the little checkbox. You'll also see there's a little 3D option up there. This will, or potentially a 3D option up there. This will allow you to make some 3D text. However, you'll notice that when you click on it, it's telling you basically 3D is being phased out of Photoshop. I think it's just a feature not a lot of people are using, and there are way better 3D tools out there. So I'm going to ignore the 3D options. Yeah, so we've got a couple type tools here. One is the horizontal, that's pretty standard. We also have a horizontal type tool. This just allows you to kind of type up and down text by default. Again, great for posters, logos, things like that. You may want to have that natural feel there, but again, not a lot of options now that you can use with regular raster graphics. There are, however, some additional features I want to look at today. This is not purely a text-related idea, but it works really nicely with text. I want to go look at something called layer styles. So layer styles are kind of like a filter that you can apply to an entire layer, but they are non-destructive, so you can turn them on and off nicely. And the reason they work really well with a lot of text is because they have a lot of crisp edges that we can add to. So I'm going to do, the first one is a drop shadow. And if you see, if I turn on the drop shadow, up comes my little layer style. We do get a little preview here of this. So you can see if I make it a little darker here and I do some distance, there you go. You can see that the right now the drop shadow appears, and this allows us to kind of tweak and alter that. We can make it bigger or smaller. We can also usually change the distance. There we go, from there at a particular angle. So you can make this text feel a little bit 3D or floating over it. And again, it's a style. So we just turn it on or off if we want, and everything in that layer now is going to have that. So if I were to paint, or let's see, well, I can't paint at the moment. It's going to ask me to rasterize it. Oh, it's making new layers for me. Oh, isn't that clever? It used to be able to do that. If I say go to my layer and rasterize this layer, there we go. Now, if I paint on that layer, you can see everything that the layer style that was applied will apply to everything in that layer. So I get a drop shadow on everything. And again, the cool part, remember, we can turn it on and off because you can see it appears down here as a kind of a, well, it's a layer style, but it's something that can be hidden, shown, or turned off. So let's go back to my layer style there. And I could pick a different one, bevel and emboss. It will just pop up that little window for me. There, so we can have a quick look at some of these. So there's the drop shadow, bevel and emboss, another really great one for text. Let me zoom in here so you can see the difference. There's the bevel and emboss, gives again that kind of 3D feel, and you can of course tweak any of these things. There's that beveled look, and if you can do it emboss, it'll make it look like it's carved kind of into things, especially if you have a background there. Pillow emboss, some different options there that you can have. We've got a couple other ones here. Stroke is a great one. Stroke puts an outline around everything. And we can click on that and you can increase that size if you want. Give you some really cool looks there. Inner shadow, you can see a little bit of a shadow appears there. Again, each one of these allows you to tweak it. So I said this can be done on any shape, any image, any picture, but it works really nicely on text. We've got an inner glow. Oh, turn them off. And again, you can combine these to do anything, to do any combination that you like. There's some lit text. Satin. I'll let you play around with these. Color overlay, gradient overlays are interesting. Again, the drop shadow, we've even got a outer glow. It works better if you have a background to be able to see it. but it'll basically shine around the outside of that image, and you can turn on and off any of them in combination. Please be careful as you get a little bit too crazy. Things start to not always look great, but you can see all of these here turned on and off.